The Algorithm of Trust, a Stuttgart Silvester, 2026 tale. Welcome to our Stuttgart community messaging platform called the OPSEC Minute Extended. On Mondays, we will use this space to share both a little OPSEC, or Operation Security Wisdom, along with an occasional Marvel team-up bridge that ties into other regulatory security disciplines and policies that our leadership and the Department of Army embrace. All right, let's enjoy today's secure narrative. Prologue, The Fog of Festivity. The air over Stuttgart, Germany, on December 30th, 2025, was thick with the scent of Glühwein, industrial-grade fireworks propellant, and the crisp, anticipatory chill of a European winter. It was Silvester, the German New Year's celebration, a time when the normally meticulous city dissolved into orchestrated chaos. Within the fortified perimeter of United States Army Garrison Stuttgart, the atmosphere was different, a peculiar blend of holiday relaxation and operational vigilance. The garrison, home to some of the U.S. military's most strategically vital commands, never truly slept. Colonel Edward Sanford, the garrison commander, stood beside the Deputy Garrison Commander, Mr. Gwinner, on the snow-dusted balcony of the garrison's headquarters building, looking out over the Panzer Kasern parade ground. "It's quiet, Gwinner. Too quiet," Colonel Sanford murmured, pulling his fleece collar tighter. Mr. Gwinner, a seasoned civilian administrator who felt the pulse of the community more acutely than anyone, adjusted his glasses. "The community is ready for the break, Colonel, but the operational tempo hasn't dropped. That's what worries Brooks and Edwards." Mr. James J.B. Brooks, the garrison's OPSEC officer, was an imposing figure, a retired master sergeant whose quiet intensity often unnerved newcomers. He walked over, his heavy combat boots crunching on the thin ice. Following him was Mr. Alonzo Edwards, the command security manager, a man whose tailored blazer always seemed too formal for the German cold, reflecting his meticulous nature regarding classified matter. "Colonel, speaking with Mr. Fralick, the Antiterrorism Officer, ATO, our baseline risk assessment is high," Brooks stated, bypassing pleasantries. "Silvester means increased traffic, more guests, and most critically, a significant upswing in digital sharing by our personnel. The adversary knows we relax. They know our guard is down." Edwards nodded gravely. "INFOSEC depends entirely on OPSEC. We can have the best firewalls in the world, but if a soldier posts a picture of a whiteboard showing a network diagram, or a spouse geotags a sensitive location during a holiday party, the objective is compromised." Sanford understood. The overriding objective was information security, INFOSEC, protecting critical data and intelligence. The baseline theme was operation security, OPSEC, the processes and actions used to deny the adversary critical information about our capabilities and intentions. "Draft another command-wide reminder, JB," Sanford ordered. "Make it firm. Stress the see something, say something for digital activity. We can't afford a lapse this week. Not here." Little did they know, the lapse was already being prepared, not by malice or external espionage, but by the enthusiastic, well-meaning hands of a new public affairs specialist with a penchant for the perfect shot. Act 1. The Enthusiast and the Exposure. Jesse Hawthorne had just landed in Stuttgart 6 months ago, fresh from the Defense Information School. At 24, he was armed with a master's in digital media strategy and an infectious optimism that was hard to miss. He viewed the world through a 4K lens, always on the hunt for the next big moment. Like many new public affairs officers, PAOs, he was driven, dedicated to transparency, and saw social media as the ultimate way to engage with the community. Then there was Sergeant First Class Marcus Mac Allen, Jesse's supervisor and the perfect counterbalance. Mac, in his mid-40s, had been in PAO units since the days of film cameras. He respected Jesse's tech skills but was quick to remind him, "Jesse, we don't just capture the story. We secure the environment around it. Every pixel could be a vulnerability." Their team also included Katrina "Kat" Schmidt, a fantastic local national employee who managed community relations and kept the team grounded in German culture. With her fierce loyalty and dry wit, she was the glue holding American enthusiasm to German reality. On the morning of December 31st, Jesse was buzzing. "Mac, check out the engagement rates on the MWR Countdown to Silvester reel," he exclaimed, waving his phone. "We're hitting 15K views. The community loves it." "They love it because you're tagging everything in a 5-mile radius," Mac grumbled, checking his email. "Did you scrub the EXIF data from those Christmas market photos? Geolocation is a nightmare." "Scrubbed, sir. Blurred the license plates, too," Jesse assured him. "Tonight's plan is to capture the spirit of the community's safe zones, the little private parties and camaraderie." But then his buddy Davy, the Baron Barnes, called with a better idea. "Forget the MWR party, bro. We got rooftop access to Building 404. The view is insane. Just 6 of us. Bring your camera." Jesse hesitated for a moment. The MWR event was official. This was personal. But the photos, the light. "I'm in," he said, but nothing visible in the background except fireworks. Strict filters. The perfect shot. Jesse arrived at Building 404 just before 2300 hours. The rooftop offered a breathtaking panorama. Stuttgart sparkled below, and the air crackled with anticipation. He set up his professional mirrorless camera, focusing the aperture wide to capture the depth of field. He snapped a few shots of his friends laughing, holding sparklers, the cityscape a beautiful, blurred backdrop. Good. Safe. Then, at 23:45, he noticed the angle. Beyond the city lights, down in the non-public maintenance annex near the motor pool, an area he didn't usually look at, but his powerful telephoto lens zoomed right in, was a temporary array. It wasn't hostile, but it was unique. A specialized camouflage tent structure that had clearly been erected only hours earlier, housing a SATCOM terminal being used for C2, command control, continuity during the holiday stand-down. It was the silent running operation that Brooks and Edwards had authorized to ensure secure communication capabilities remained active while primary systems underwent scheduled maintenance. The array was painted with high-tech obscuring paint and shielded by temporary barriers, but from this elevated angle, the precise geometry of the antennae and its proximity to the main power nexus was visible. This, Jesse thought, adjusting his lens for optical zoom, is the photo that tells the whole story, the contrast between the celebration and the mission. He framed the shot, the fireworks beginning to erupt over the city, and the silent, vigilant command post array in the lower quadrant of the frame, a stark reminder of the mission. He took the picture. It was stunning. The clock struck midnight. Happy New Year, 2026. Jesse immediately uploaded the photo, choosing his personal, highly public Instagram account over the professional PAO account. He tagged Davy, Kat, who wasn't even there, and used the hashtag vigilance and glory. He posted the full high-resolution original file, excited to show off the technical quality of his new lens. Within 10 minutes, the photo had over 500 likes. Act 2. The Quiet Harvest. While Jesse celebrated, across the city, in a nondescript apartment rented under a short-term lease, Elias Vance was hard at work. Operating under the guise of a freelance architectural photographer and travel journalist, Elias was, in reality, a highly skilled digital operative working for an unnamed foreign intelligence agency. His mission was to collect specific, non-classified infrastructure data around critical Western command nodes to establish a baseline operational profile. He wasn't seeking classified information, but instead patterns, vulnerabilities, and ancillary support structures. For weeks, Elias had been scrutinizing USAG Stuttgart's public digital footprint, gathering substantial yet incomplete data from public construction permits and innocuous posts detailing troop movements. His primary focus was locating temporary communications relays used when secure networks were stressed or partially offline. He had narrowed it down to 2 potential locations but lacked confirmation. Then Jesse Hawthorne's post surfaced. The subject, Vigilance and Glory. The image's resolution was extraordinary, revealing the coordinates Elias needed. The placement of the camouflaged array relative to the motor pool structure, the proximity to main power lines, and the antenna's specific shape confirmed the location of the temporary C2 relay. Crucially, the EXIF data, which Jesse failed to scrub, provided precise GPS coordinates, or at least the micro area of Building 404's rooftop, and the exact azimuth and tilt of the camera. Cause: Jesse's high-resolution photograph, posted without OPSEC review, included EXIF data, exposing a temporary operational vulnerability. Effect: Elias Vance now possessed the confirmation he required. Act 3. The Morning After and the Cold Shower. New Year's Day remained uneventful until 0900 hours, when chaos erupted in the garrison watch floor. ACI sensors, which had been monitoring unusual traffic patterns, detected a high-level targeted sniffing attempt on the maintenance annex network, a network expected to be low priority and inactive. The sophisticated attack was traced to a transient IP cluster previously flagged for hostile probing elsewhere in Germany. Mr. Alonzo Edwards, summoned from his quiet breakfast, appeared grim. They had been compromised. The Stuttgart Army Counterintelligence (ACI) team, led by the sharp and methodical agent Vanessa Torres, began tracking the attack vector back to its source. "This isn't a hack, sir. It's a targeted exploration," Torres explained to Brooks and Edwards at 10:30. "They knew exactly where to look and the vulnerability. We need to identify the intelligence source." Torres's team quickly shifted to open-source intelligence, OSINT, and within minutes the trail led to Jesse Hawthorne's profile and the Narcor Vigilance and Glory post. Brooks displayed the image on the main screen, causing the atmosphere in the room to chill instantly. "Oh, God, no," J.B. Brooks murmured, immediately recognizing the C2 array. That array was operational for less than 12 hours, known to only a select few. Now the world knows its angle. Edwards pointed to the reflected light on a camouflaged panel, noting, "This is more than a photo. It's a reconnaissance tool. The geometry reveals the exact footprint and barrier height." By 11, Jesse Hawthorne was summoned to face J.B. Brooks, Alonzo Edwards, Sergeant First Class Allen, and Agent Torres across a heavy oak table. The atmosphere was professional yet intensely charged. Act 4. The Humbling and the Team. Jesse was escorted back to the PAO office, not under arrest but under the emotional guard of Sergeant First Class Allen, who seemed to have aged 5 years in an hour. "Mac, I messed up. I truly messed up," Jesse mumbled, burying his face in his hands. "You didn't just mess up, Jesse," Mac replied with a tone heavy with compassion rather than anger. "You committed the cardinal sin of OPSEC, turning unclassified, fragmented data into actionable intelligence. Your intent was community engagement. The result is a potential mission compromise." Kat, who had been listening quietly, placed a hand on Jesse's shoulder. "Look at me. You're a good person and you're passionate. But every digital action here is a military action. This is the digital battlefield. Your camera is a weapon, and sometimes you end up firing it at your own position." The garrison commander, Colonel Sanford, convened a secure video meeting. Though disappointed, he focused on containment. Specialist Hawthorne, you are temporarily relieved of all public-facing duties, Sanford stated, but we need your expertise now. We need to understand how they found you and what they intend to do with the information. Agent Torres redirected the discussion. The adversary didn't act on this photo alone, Specialist. That's the key takeaway. Initial indicators came from a post 2 weeks ago by a housing area spouse, a high-angle selfie showing part of the main antenna farm undergoing maintenance, suggesting a C2 shift. That post set the direction. Yours gave them the target and timing. OPSEC is a chain, and you were the weakest link at the most critical moment. Torres then revealed the final and most alarming layer of the threat. Using Jesse's publicly available friends list and tags, Elias Vance's group had launched a highly sophisticated spearphishing campaign. They used your community to attack the command structure, Torres said to Jesse. This galvanized Jesse. The realization that his pursuit of likes had facilitated a targeted attack on his friends and colleagues was more horrifying than any reprimand. I can track the phishing campaign, Agent Torres, Jesse said, suddenly focused, the shame fueling a fierce resolve. I know how social hooks work. I know how they spoof internal communications based on the language they've harvested. Let me help you set the trap. Act 5. The Digital Defense and Redemption. Jesse was assigned to the ACI team, effectively confined to a secure operations center, where he analyzed the adversary's social engineering tactics. His generationally specific understanding of digital community norms proved invaluable. They're targeting the MWR listserv, Jesse explained, outlining the architecture. The phishing email uses the wrong font for the Garrison logo, a clean sans serif instead of the approved serif font. They also use the word perfunctory, which no one in MWR would include in a community update. It's a clear sign of a non-native speaker trying too hard to sound official. Leveraging Jesse's analysis, the ACI team deployed counter-phishing bait, a benign email mimicking a successful login attempt to trace the adversary's access points. Sergeant First Class Allen and Kat provided unwavering support. While Jesse monitored the digital defenses, Mac managed damage control, updating commanders and the community about the OPSEC breach without revealing Jesse's involvement. Kat used her influence to amplify the phishing warning internally, employing humor and cultural relevance to make the message resonate. Don't click the link unless it promises free, locally sourced Spätzle delivered by a unicorn, Kat posted, diffusing panic while reinforcing the security message. Over 48 hours, the team operated seamlessly. Jesse's expertise led to isolating and shutting down the targeted network routes before data could be exfiltrated or malicious code deployed. Agent Torres's team traced transient IP addresses, culminating in the identification and deportation of Elias Vance and his associates, who had posed as journalists. The C2 relay was promptly relocated, ensuring operational continuity. Act 6. The Reckoning. Jesse Hawthorne was summoned back to the Garrison Command Suite, where Colonel Sanford sat flanked by Mr. Gwinner, J.B. Brooks, and Alonzo Edwards. The atmosphere was tense, though an undercurrent of relief was present. Specialist Hawthorne, Colonel Sanford began, his tone calm yet firm, your actions on New Year's Eve compromised the security of this installation and endangered our personnel. Such a lapse in operational security is unacceptable. Jesse stood taller, responding firmly. Sir, I take full responsibility. It was a failure of judgment driven by arrogance and disregard for procedure. Edwards nodded, adding, However, your technical expertise and immediate cooperation with ACI were crucial in neutralizing the secondary threat. You turned your vulnerability into a defensive asset. J.B. Brooks placed a thick binder on the table, containing the revised Garrison social media OPSEC policy. Your punishment specialist takes effect immediately and will last for the remainder of your tour, Brooks stated, a faint smile in his eyes. You are assigned as the garrison's certified instructor for the new Digital Duty and OPSEC training, starting next Monday. Your story will be the primary lesson. Mr. Gwinner added, additionally, you'll produce a series of instructional videos, the Hawthorne series, that must be informative, concise, and deeply humbling, illustrating the cause, effect, and consequences of your digital error. Jesse smiled sincerely. Sir, I will create the most painfully honest course curriculum this command has ever seen. Epilogue: The New Algorithm. 6 months later, the summer heat hung heavy over Stuttgart. Jesse Hawthorne stood in front of a packed auditorium of newly assigned military and civilian personnel. He wore his uniform crisply, his posture confident but marked by a tangible humility. He was known informally throughout the garrison as the OPSEC specialist. Behind him, a massive screen displayed the title of his mandatory training, The Algorithm of Trust: Why Your Perfect Photo is the Adversary's Free Intel. I took this photo on New Year's 2026. I loved this shot. I loved the likes it got. And within 3 hours of posting it, I became the single biggest operational security risk this garrison faced that week. Jesse paused, letting the image sink in. He detailed the cause, the effect, and the terrifying consequence, explaining exactly how his desire for affirmation had translated into an actionable intelligence vector for a hostile entity. He finished his lecture by highlighting the positive system that surrounded his failure. The vigilance of the ACI team, the steady hand of the garrison leadership, and the crucial support of his team, Mac and Kat, who had helped him not just recover, but contribute. OPSEC isn't a checklist, it's a mindset, Jesse concluded. The adversary is patient. They do not need your classified files. They need the unclassified puzzle pieces you freely give them. Every time you post, tag, or share, ask yourself, am I protecting the mission? Am I protecting my team? As the audience filed out, Sergeant First Class Allen clapped Jesse on the shoulder. Great lecture, Hawthorne. Jesse smiled, the weight of the past year now forged into constructive purpose. He was humbled, wiser, and fundamentally changed. He had learned that true camaraderie wasn't just celebrating together. It was securing the lines of communication so they could all return home safely, operating always under the careful, disciplined algorithm of trust. Thank you for sticking around as we continue testing the boundaries of an extended storyboard. Think of it as security training with a plot twist, and a fresh way to both educate our team and connect with our military community. Subscribe to our Secure Narratives YouTube channel, hit us with a like, and watch our new updates.